Right, welcome everyone. I'll dive through the initial bit, which Helen covered well. What I'm going to cover today, marketing DNA, and that's important for you to know so that you can do the right marketing and spend the money in the right places. And so often solicitors are misled and missold the wrong types of marketing, so I'm going to show you what the right ones are. Easy life marketing, clients coming to you at the time that they're looking for you. Your essential marketing tools, what you should be using in wills and estate planning to get clients. And I'm going to share with you something that's normally only available for my paying members, the Wills and Probate Multiplier system, which I think is a nice, easy way for you to ramp up your income year on year with wills and probate. And on the topic of wills and probate, I have to say, if ever I decided to stay in the law, I did 14 years and left because I enjoyed the marketing more, but if ever I had decided to stay in, I think wills and probate would have been what I'd have specialised in, because it's in my view relatively easy to market consistently and get clients coming in, so it would be where I would go. So I think you're in the right place, certainly from a getting clients viewpoint. My background, as said, solicitor for a while, and then 2003 onwards marketing legal services. All of my advice is based on having spent my own money marketing legal services, managing a spend of around 2 million a year, online, offline, business to business, private services, everything, and based on getting results. And it's all covered in my book in detail. And the reason I wrote that book was just because so many solicitors were spending money in the wrong places and not getting results and getting disheartened with marketing. And I know what that feels like. I was inside a law firm for many years. So I wanted to, for the price of a couple of cups of coffee, show you what you should do when it comes to marketing legal services and to get the results and to get return on investment. So that's what the book does. So diving straight into it, your marketing DNA. And the reason I came up with this is because I realised so many people would sell marketing without any understanding of who is going to be using it, whether it was right for them. And it frustrated me because I've had solicitors come to me that have spent £10,000 on a website which is set up for the wrong type of marketing DNA, and the other way as well. So there's two DNAs now, and nurture, and it's important that you know which is which, because they require a different call to action, a different result or outcome when you get them right. So I want to tell you what they are and how you work out which is which. They're not equal. If you have a marketing DNA of now for your legal services, it is easier to get your phone to ring very quickly. Nurture takes a bit more time, but if you follow the system, it is very straightforward, and actually both of them will lead to a consistent volume of inquiries for your services. When it comes to now, you are probably in the luckier camp, in that if you said, tomorrow I want clients, more clients, you could turn on the tap and you could get clients coming to you straight away. Those services would include wills and most of the probate services. And what it means is that there's a different way of sort of getting of what you ask people to do when they visit your website or when they come across you. There's a different thing, a different outcome that you're looking for, which I'll go into now. So wills, probate, you can get clients tomorrow. If you need more clients, very easy to do that, and I'll show you how later. When it comes to nurture, you're not unlucky. You've just got to do a little bit more to get people interested in what you have to offer. What I call items of value, so that when they come to your site, if they're not ready to buy, which often people buying a nurture service such as LPAs, trusts, they're in the research mode. And very few people, as I'm sure you know, really understand what an LPA is from a client's perspective. Trusts even more so, but they might know of it and go looking for more information about it. So those people, if they find your website and there's nothing on your website for them to download to find out more, they will leave, and that's the last thing you want. So when I say items of value, it's something that you offer to visitors your website in exchange for their contact details, so that you can keep following up until they are ready to find out more. They are vital. I forgot my order. I'm going to come back to examples of these in more detail and show you some specifics so you know exactly what I mean. But I want to stress that point, because if someone tells you to spend thousands on Google ads for DNA nurture businesses, you're not going to get a return on investment quickly or at all. It's going to take time. So I often have clients coming to me saying, I want to spend money on Google ads, and I'll say, no, you don't, until you can cash flow that for a few months before the work starts coming in. So let's look at your marketing essentials. We're going to look at your website, your items of value, Google Ads, and there's many misconceptions I've heard from solicitors over the years about Google Ads, so I'm going to hopefully set some of those straight, because it is, for all legal services, one of the best forms of marketing. We're going to talk about cross-selling, and then I'm going to tell you how to get hold of my Wills and Probate Multiplier system, which is on the URL below, and you'll get all of the resources there. So in terms of your website, and so many websites don't quite get this right, and I'm going to show you one later which is from a major competitor in the probate sector, and you'll be pleased to see they're not quite getting things right, which is good. But your website's sole purpose is to ultimately, at the end of the day, get your prospects' contact details. But as you will know from your own searching experience, we are all incredibly busy now and time-starved. And if we want to part with those details, we have to be sure that we're talking to an expert, a specialist, someone that we trust that will do the right job and that we're prepared to spend some time talking to them. So you have to build that trust now. And that is done in two ways. Through depth of expertise, so lots of pages about the service that you offer, and lots of content on those pages that shows your expertise, and proof of expertise. And one of the common problems or arguments I hear from people is, Nick, if we put too much content on the page, people will just do things themselves. And I can assure you, having done this for marketed legal services since 1991, full-time since 2003, that won't happen. No one can complete their own trust, or no one really wants to do their own probate. Of course they can do it, but the reality is it's very unlikely. And just a very brief story, the last firm I worked for, when it came to full-time inside law firm, the one thing I managed to do was build a website which in 2002-03 was ahead of its time, in that it had loads and loads of content, hundreds of pages, so it really was pushing ahead of the competition, and it made the phone ring off the hook. And a year after I left the firm, I bumped into the partner who'd taken over marketing from me, and he very proudly announced that they'd got rid of that big website, the horrible unwieldy thing that I built for them, and got a small five-page brochure site. And I said to him, "Oh, and overnight your phone stopped ringing." He said, "How did you know that?" For Google to send any visitors to you and to generate clients for you, you have to have enough content on the site, and that's your depth of expertise. If you don't have that depth, you won't get people to the site, and they won't be persuaded of your expertise and won't get in touch with you. So what do I mean? In terms of number of pages in a service area, and here's one of my favourite things. So this is an example navigation that I've put together, and it's quite common for a high street firm: conveyancing, employment, wills and probate. Firstly, if just the wills and probate thing always makes me chuckle. They're two distinct services for Joe Public. We know that they're always lumped together and the same people do them, but from a customer service, client service point of view, if I'm looking for probate, I'm not necessarily looking for wills. If I'm looking for wills, I'm not looking for probate. So my solution is always to say, you can have them on the same page if you must, but it goes against what I'm saying in that you need more content, more pages promoting your services to prove expertise. But you can have an item saying probate and an item saying wills in your navigation that points to that one page if you still want to do it with one page. But the point is that if there's only one page for wills and probate, how can a prospect think, yes, this is a specialist in this area, these are people I can definitely work with? They can't make that decision. And then when it comes to content on each page, as well as having a number of pages in the section, you've got to have enough content for Google to work out what your page is about, and enough content for your visitor to believe that you're specialists. And just to sort of prove this point, let's go to I'm going to pull up a website which will probably make you go ooh boo. So we can go to the co-op, and if we click on wills, this is what I mean about proving expertise. There's plenty of pages in there about types of wills: trust wills, mirror wills, single wills, do I need a will? And the same for probate. There's a lot of pages in here which proves expertise to a certain extent. So if you need an example of what that looks like, there it is for you. So enough pages, enough content on the pages to make it work for you. There's the co-op example. And then on top of that, as well as proving your expertise through the depth content, you also want it proved externally. So client reviews sewn into the content, membership of your professional organisation, STEP, etc., number of wills completed, number of probate transactions completed, anything which, again, as I say, within that, you probably have 60 to 90 seconds to prove expertise to your visitor. So in that time, you've got to do as much as you can to persuade me that you know what you're doing and that you're worthy of my contact details. So those sorts of things, and I've tested this, and as soon as you put a number on there that makes people think they must know something, to have done 5,000 wills or 10,000 wills, they must know something. The phone rings more. People feel confident enough to give up their contact details. So yes, once you've built that trust, you've got to get your prospects' contact details, and let's have a look at what that means. So if we're talking about lasting powers of attorney or trusts or any complicated legal service area, when they arrive at your website, they read your content, they have to get to the bottom, they've seen reviews, they see that you know what you're talking about, you offer them something of value in exchange for their email address. And there's so much email marketing software out there. If you need a recommendation, let me know, but you can set it up in minutes. Offer something of value, automate the entire process, because I know you're busy and don't have time to spend all day every day marketing, but I always teach leverage marketing. So you write this guide once for LPAs and you set it up once in the email software, and it can be downloaded and sent to everyone who's asked for it instantly without you doing a single thing. So it's definitely not a hard thing to do. What happens if you don't do it? If someone is in the research mode, they land at your website, there's nothing for them to download. They think, oh, well, I'll come back later and find them when I'm ready. But they don't, because they can't remember, or next time they see someone else's advertisement and they don't see you. So that's just sadly not going to happen. So you have to offer something of value. If you offer a nurture, I've got some examples for you. There's what you get on my site, how to get clients for a law firm. That's basically what I tell you. And obviously the other thing I should say is everything that I teach you, I've practiced, tested myself. So it's not just theory, and obviously I use it for all of my clients. So I offer a download from my website. If you're not ready to instruct me, and I can tell you, having been in this business for 18 years, no one wakes up in the morning, sadly, and says, I'm going to buy a legal marketing consultant today. They might say, how do I get more clients? If I didn't offer this download, I would not have a business. It's the most important thing in my business, having a download, that get people to download my emails and then hearing from me until they're ready to use me. And sometimes some of my best clients have been on my email list for 2 years before they pick up the phone and say, right, Nick, I really need some help. Let's get on with it. For you, dear nature nurture examples, everything you need to know about trusts, what is an LPA, your complete guide to making a will. Excuse me. You could, the content doesn't have to be ebooks. It could be a little video you've put together. It can be anything, that as long as there's value in it for the person that downloads it. So if you offer complicated legal services, LPAs, trusts, you need to offer downloads from your website, or I promise you you're missing potential clients. They're coming to your site and they're sadly hitting the back button and off they go, and you've lost them. When it comes to nurture, it is, as I say, much easier, but there's still a potential problem here, in that you can still let people off the hook because the assumption by many is that when the client's ready, they'll go off and they'll find your contact details. And I can promise you from testing and spending a lot of my own money on this, that's not true. If you don't spell out precisely what someone's supposed to do at the end of each page, off they drop, they go, and they'll go off to Co-op or somebody else, which we obviously don't want. Let me give you an example, and I'll just put up a mock page that sort of tells you what a bad DNA Now service page is. I get you to the page, I talk you through the content, I break up the content with images, bullet points, client reviews, get to the bottom of the page and nothing. I don't tell you what to do at all. And I can tell you from experience that I've had clients that have come to me, I've told them to put calls to action on the bottom of every page, and they have instantly got more inquiries for their services overnight. And that's not just one day, that's every day thereafter. So it really is something that's very important to do. And this is how it should look. So what you'll notice I do here is I offer my phone number, I offer my email, I offer a free inquiry, or the final one is download my book. So you have all the choices there to make sure that if you're not ready, you can download something of value and hear from me until you are. If you are ready, you can get in touch with me straight away. So all options are available. And I thought, where did I find earlier? I did find an example of, was it on this page? So back to the Co-op, and I'm a big fan of that. The idea of a website especially for law firms, is, we want to get your personality across to prove why it would be better for me to come to you than perhaps someone like this. And so you'll be talking to me and telling me what the benefits of your services are, and I see your reviews, so that's all good. But then at the end, rather than just a block that has your phone number or contact details in it, you should still talk to me. As I've suggested here, you should still say, to make a free inquiry, please either call us now or call me now on email, or complete a free online inquiry. Because again, I know that breaking this readership path, as I call it, so I'm reading, and then I just get an instruction to request a call back or phone. Talk to me. Just talk to me as if you're talking to a real person, and offer me contact, and that will work so much better. So if you only take one thing from today, if you go away and check your website and make sure you have every page ends with a call to action, has reviews sewn into it, it will make a difference. If anyone's finding your site, you will get more phone calls. I know, because I've done it many times. Google Ads. What are they? Well, let's have a look at probate solicitors, and they're the things that appear at the top with ad next to them. As I said, probate, often some people research it and some people are ready to go. If they're searching probate solicitors, they're probably more likely selling a DNA Now service to them. So phone me, email me, make a free inquiry, and the if they're in the research mode, so what is probate, what is grant of probate, that's where you need something to offer over download. So it depends what traffic you're getting, but that's why it's important that you know. So there's your Google Ads. Common misconceptions. I manage a spend of about $1 million a year for all sorts of different services, so I've heard everything. The biggest one is, and this is one of my favourite long-term clients, I've worked with them for years, but one of the owners still says, well, I never click on them, so I can't believe people still do, but they still spend on Google Ads every month because it brings in lots of clients, really good clients. And Google makes $32 billion per quarter from Google Ads. That's because people keep spending, because it works. I spend money on Google Ads. I think I'd be a hypocrite not to. The other thing is, often there's a tipping point. So if a solicitor comes to me and says, I'm spending £200-300 a month, it's unlikely you're going to get a return on investment. You need about 300 clicks, and if you're marketing something like probate services, those clicks are probably going to cost you between £4 and £7, depending how good your campaign is. So it's a fair investment. But if you're spending that £2,000 a month or £1,500 but generating 10-15,000 in fees, of course it can work. So you have to know your numbers, but you have to invest enough to make it work. Otherwise it's hit and miss. You'll have months where it does and many months where it doesn't. And then the other big problem is Google, for some reason, well, I know why, or I have a feeling why, it forces people setting up their own account to set it up as an express campaign, Google Ads Express, which basically means zero visibility. You can't see what you're spending your money on, so you can't make it work harder for you, and it just takes your money without you getting any results. So you must avoid Google Ads Express at all costs if you're going to try with Google Ads. It is amazing for now services. So your wills, you can make it work. Of course, there's a return on investment. Can you get enough traffic for the cost? And you're not going to make too much on wills, but you should charge a proper service for wills. And that's the other point. If your website is set up right, so that by the time I contact you, I think you are the best people for wills, then price becomes much less of an issue. I have people selling conveyancing services, another so-called commoditized service, from Google Ads and from their website, and they sell it at the highest price in their town. But because they've done everything else right, the website's set up right, they have what I call a meaningful conversation to really get to the bottom of what the client wants. They sell at the highest price in their town. So I never accept the argument that you can only sell wills through a loss leader. I'm not a fan of that expression. You can make money selling wills. For any Google Ads, you should be looking for a minimum return on investment of 3-to-1. Spend 1,000, make 3,000 in fees. That way it's cash flowing itself. And you either want to get brilliant at it or brilliant at managing it. And so I manage a lot of Google Ad spend. If you're running a campaign that's not quite working, get in touch. Happily jump on a call with you and give you some ideas. But it can be very, very powerful. I'm not too far from the end. If anyone would like me to look at a page on their website, pop it in the chat box now. If I've got time, I'll ask Megan. If we have, I'll happily give you a one-on-one critique on this call. If we haven't got time, then as I say, go to the page /wills at the bottom of the slide, download my resources, and you can ask me to have a look at your site from there. But the second easiest way to sell more wills, cross-sell them to all conveyancing clients. And Everyone tells me this is impossible, but I have firms that achieve this very well. Obviously, what you don't want to do is do it after exchange, after completion, because then, of course, they're in the throes of moving house. But if you tie it in before exchange and get them to complete the instructions for exchange, then it's quite an easy upsell. You can, in this example, perhaps offer an upgrade or a slight discount because they're buying more than one service at one time. The key point here is you're not selling if you know that everyone should have a will. If they do not, then it is my argument that you're not serving your clients if you don't make sure they get a will. And when they're buying a property, they probably should have one. And then the final point is, don't leave it to your fee earners. Conveyancing fee earners won't sell wills. It's more of a customer service role. You could have someone, one of your team who's very good on the phone, just phoning up to say, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, you're moving house. Just to let you know, just wanted to check, you've heard about our special offer for wills. If you do them before exchange, it's this price. Would you like me to book in a time for this to take place? It's that simple, but there's so much more ability out there for you to generate more clients, so it's well worth doing. The first easiest way to sell more wills is the Wills and Probate Multiplier system. And I'm going to give you that in the resources pack, but the reason it's so important is because if you have a volume of wills in your database, and this is not a complicated system. Like I said, I've never shared it with anyone except for paying clients before, but this is the effect it could have on your income if just 15% of your wills are updated, depending how many are in storage. So it can make a dramatic difference, and the system I use, any law firm could implement tomorrow and it would work. And I won't go into details of it. There is a bit of detail, but you'll get the full guide showing you what that is, which is normally only available to my marketing for solicitors members. But I'm giving that to you because it just felt like the right thing to do, and I'd like solicitors to make more of that opportunity of their will bank. So there's the resources for you. There's the presentation I'm away.